This video talks about chemical reactions and equations. The objective of this video is to understand what is a chemical reaction, what is a chemical equation, what are the components of chemical equation, and what is a skeletal chemical equation. Think about what happens when milk is left at room temperature during summers, an iron pan is left exposed to humid atmosphere, when grapes get fermented, when food is cooked, when food gets digested in our body, and when we respire. In all these situations, the nature and the identity of the initial substance has somewhat changed. Whenever a chemical change occurs, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. What has changed here is the physical and chemical changes of matter. Have you ever wondered what is actually meant by a chemical reaction? Let us perform a small activity to understand the same. This activity needs a teacher's assistance, and it would be better if students wear eye protection during this activity. Firstly, clean a magnesium ribbon about 2 cm long by rubbing it with sandpaper. Hold it with a pair of tongs, burn it using a spirit lamp or burner, and collect the ash so formed in a watch glass as shown. Burn the magnesium ribbon, keeping it as far as possible from your eyes. What we observe is that the magnesium ribbon burns with a dazzling white flame and changes into a white powder. This powder is magnesium oxide. It is formed due to the reaction between magnesium and oxygen which is present in air. Now this activity can be described as when a magnesium ribbon is burnt in oxygen, it gets converted to magnesium oxide. This description of a chemical reaction in a sentence form is however quite long. It can be written in a shorter form. The simplest way to do this is to write it in the form of a word equation. The word equation for this reaction would be magnesium plus oxygen gives rise to magnesium oxide. The substances that undergo chemical change in this reaction, that is magnesium and oxygen, are the reactants. The new substance, which is magnesium oxide, which is formed during the reaction, is the product. A word equation shows the change of reactants to products through an arrow placed between them. The reactants are written on the left-hand side with a plus sign between them. Similarly, products are written on the right-hand side with a plus sign between them. The arrowhead points towards the products and shows the direction of the reaction. Chemical equations can be made more concise and useful if we use chemical formulae instead of words. A chemical equation represents a chemical reaction. Hence, the chemical equation representing the magnesium, oxygen and magnesium oxide can be rewritten as 2Mg plus O2 gives rise to 2MgO. Now check out the number of atoms of each element on left-hand side and the right-hand side of the arrow. We find that this equation is balanced. However, a lot of times equation is unbalanced because the mass is not the same on both sides of the equation. Such a chemical equation is a skeletal chemical equation for a reaction. This is a skeletal chemical equation for the burning of magnesium in air. In this video you have learnt, whenever a chemical change occurs, we say that a chemical reaction has taken place. A chemical reaction can be described in form of a chemical equation. The substances that undergo chemical change in the reaction are the reactants. The new substance formed during the reaction is the product. The word equation shows the change of reactants to products through an arrow placed between them. The reactants are written on the left-hand side with a plus sign between them, and similarly products are written on the right-hand side with a plus sign between them. The arrowhead points towards the products and shows the direction of the reaction. However, a lot of times equation is unbalanced because the mass is not the same on both sides of the equation. Such a chemical equation is a skeletal chemical equation for a reaction. Thank you.